So we often begin again. I am Tyler Olds. I am standing in front of the Metropolitan Detention Center, where only one other resident philosopher has gone inside, along with Dena Shottenkirk, to speak with the inmates housed there. I was not the one to go inside, but as the regular resident philosopher from talkPOPc, let me say a few things about our current topic of conversation: power. What we seem to have lost in our tendency to objectify all aspects of the world is a profound understanding of the necessary subjectivism that lies at the heart of our relationship to the world as a whole. More than anything else, we are subjects confronting an external reality that at all points seems to be attacking us, one that we must contend with, one that we must experience.
When I first met you, it was really funny, if you remember. It was in a drawing class that I was teaching at MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, where you are. And you hadn't come to that class before, and you kind of walked in sort of in the middle of the class, and I was in the midst of suggesting to people that we do something, and I said, so why don't we, and you interrupted me, and you said, yes. And I turned to you and I said, why are you saying yes? Because you didn't even hear what I said. I didn't finish. And you said, immediately, you said, how do you think I got in here anyway? I liked you immediately right then. Look, I don't know your crime. You're somebody that I didn't look up, but I've always had a sense of who you are. So I have some kind of image, maybe it's correct, maybe it's not, about the pulls and pushes in your life that have led you here. You know, which direction we get shoved and what trauma befalls us, what moments of fear that are stamped, no, not really stamped, like branded into our amygdala. Those shape so much the decisions that we make. I do understand that. So I don't know what brought you here, but I am, for reasons that are justified or not, tremendously sympathetic to you. Thomas Hobbes talks so much about power and about, in his words, how we want to have power over each other until death. And that idea of the power that people have had over you, the power that you've had over others, it's all hard to add up sometimes. It's hard to think about where the weight falls. I mean, his idea of human nature was so tremendously negative, and we're such horrible creatures that the worst sort of totalitarian regime is necessary to keep us in line. But then when you think about somebody like Hannah Arendt, you know, who wrote Totalitarianism in the 1940s, she was amazingly able to realize in the 1940s the similarity between Stalin and Hitler, and recognize that that kind of cruelty and will to dominate to the destruction of others wasn't something that everybody had in their heart, and it wasn't something that we had to tolerate in society. I think she's probably right about it, more right than Hobbes. You said to me one time that you were going to get out soon, and that a deal had been struck between the prosecutor and your attorney, and that when you did, you wanted to come to talkPOPc and have a conversation with us because you'd been sexually abused as a child. And you said you were tired of holding that in and you wanted to talk to somebody.